of our last unit. The top of this cell, alright. That's the river just below, just before this cliff. Right. Yes. Okay. Over there. Okay. So, why we are here, for example? What is why we decided to come here? Since we are doing stratigraphy in sedimentology. Exactly. So we are sitting on top, we are sitting on the next of the following depositional environment. Alright? I will let you know that the boundary between the Yagon siltson or the deep cells, forget about the names, and these rocks, the boundary is somewhere over there on the hill. We spent with Adam one day looking for this boundary, and I missed it. I don't have the boundary. So these rocks are younger or older?
Younger.
Okay. Unfortunately, I cannot take it to the boundary because we need one day. That would be a good geological mapping exercise. But I'm not going to spend the whole day looking for the boundary. So I let you know beforehand. So these rocks are sitting above. Okay? Anything strange in this area? Look at the rocks. We know that these rocks are older than these rocks. But what we see is the oldest rock just next to the youngest. This is what we see, isn't it? Think about it. I'm not going to tell you why, but think about it. There's something wrong. Something is happening. You would expect the younger rocks above, even if they are tilted, alright? Go. But now they are just next. At the same level. Sorry? There's that please.
What else is different about this when we think about structural geology? What else is different about this outcrop compared to where we were yesterday?
Folded steeper.
Direction we did? Can you measure it?
Okay.
Huh? See what you're saying? What did you get?
The dip angle steeper.
About 40.
Are they steeper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 90.
I don't know if
So
it's
they're
90, but they are
It's
steeper.
near,
right?
yeah.
So, we follow the strike. They're probably pretty consistent laterally to those beds, but they dip at a deeper angle and they're younger deposits.
Think about it. Not now, okay, we will keep working. But think about it. We're going to ask again at the end. When we finish this update. Okay? So, these rocks are submarine fans. Monotonous repetition of sandstone and mudstone bed, pretty much. And let's take a look at the rocks. Monotonous repetition. So they are deep, very deep, deeper, below 500 meters of bottom depth. So submarine fans consist of two major parts, two major units, the distal part and the proximal part. The inner part is the proximal, the distal part is the outer part. Okay, these two units. The distal part, roughly, they show thickening upward trend. The proximal part, the channelized area, exhibits mostly fining and thinning upward trend. Always the beginning of each cycle, of each trend, starts with conglomerate, with the coarsest material available. This is the beginning of each cycle. Alright? So now let's take a walk to get the idea of defining our coarsest upward trend. We should find it out immediately, and then we can state that this is the inner or the outer part of the submarine fan system. Okay? So, the road is hanging directly like that. So, our eyes look on that direction, trying to identify trends. Finding our courses upwards always. Okay? Open your eyes and come. Start thinking that we may look at submarine parts. Okay? Of course, this is not an evidence. What is the evidence of submarine parts? Are we all familiar with this sequence? As physics theory. Now we have the chance to look at the Puma sequence. Roughly, we said that every single pair of sandstone and mudstone is one flow, one current. Just one. So in this clip there are two patterns, we should say. Okay? The flows have bed load, which is the sand, and the suspended load is the mud. Done. So, now, within the sandstone, just within the sandstone, we have the three subdivisions of the Puma sequence. The TA, B, and C. TA starting from the base. The TA is at the base of the sandstone. It is just above. This is again above the TP. Okay. When we say Puma subdivision TP, what do we expect? What does it look like?
Coarse material.
Cross-laminated sandstone or parallel laminated? So, the TA, the first subdivision, is the coarsest material available in every single flow. Okay, this material is deposited. It can be either normal graded, it can be reverse graded, it can be ungraded, no grading at all. This is the first subdivision, the lowest, the coarsest material available in the flow. The overlying unit, the TP subdivision, it is parallel laminated sand. The next one, again within the sandstone. The TC is a unit of cross-laminated sandstone. And the remaining two Puma subdivisions, they are within the mud, within the suspended load of the flow. It is hard to distinguish them in the field. So we usually pair these subdivisions. We just say that the mud corresponds to the TD and TE subdivision. So the last two subdivisions of Puma sequence, they are within the mudstone. Okay? In theory, ideally, the TD subdivision, just above the parallel laminated sandstone, is just a mudstone unit, but with a well-defined sealed lamina. It is pure sealed, that's why I use this term. Not mud. We know that this is sealed. It's not easy. Actually, Anyway, there is a lot of controversy about this subdivision. Anyway, ideally we do expect within the mud silt lamina. One line, pure silt. Yes. And the uppermost unit corresponds to the finest material available, the finest flow, the termination of the flow. Okay. Ideally, this material is clay stone. Ideally. You're not going to see any clay. So we should look at every single, we say, sandstone bed, looking for these three Puma subdivisions. Okay? So, take a look. Look at this unit. I cannot see any well-defined parallel lamination in this part. They're left. So partly, this can be the TB. Alright? In most of the cases, the sands do not develop the complete Puma sequence. Okay, they contain some of these subdivisions. It can contain just the TA and the TC, just the TB, whatever. It all depends on the flow velocity, on the coarse grade size, hydraulic related. Okay? So we do not expect to see all the three subdivisions within the sand. Okay? If we can see them, alright, we're good. But that does not mean that Puma sequence is not here. Okay? This is Puma sequence, part of the Puma sequence. So the thin bedded sandstone usually for the TB and the TC subdivision, usually. Unless we are in the proximal part of the turbidite, submarine fan system, where the material is, the positional environment is of higher energy, okay, it can carry coarse-grained material, and can develop TA as well. So, this is one bed, this is the end of the next flow, the mud. We should ideally see the three subdivisions. No, we cannot see them here. In thicker bedded sandstones we may. That's why we're going to spend 4 hours here, identifying the Puma sequence. Okay? Alright. So the first thing we do, this is our evidence. The Puma sequence. Of course the repetitions can make us think that okay, this may be submarine fan, but we have no evidence here. This is our evidence. Okay? Then we should look at the trends. If the trend finds and thins upward or not, the reverse. In order to understand if we are looking at the inner part of the submarine fan system or the distal part. Finding upward trends within the channelized, within the proximal part of the system. Okay? Thickening upward trends in the distal part. Okay, did we notice any trend in the bed thickness while walking?
Yeah.
Thinning. Is that clear? The sandstone beds are quite thicker over there. Okay? Alright.
There's some bigger grains over there too.
Coarser.
Coarser, yeah.
So the sequence
Yeah.
fines and thins upward. All of them, both.
Yeah.
Okay. Look over there is a conglomerate. Over there. Did you see the conglomerate? Over there. Hiding again. So if we go there, follow the beds, up sequence, we might have the same trend. Make sense? channels fine and thin upward. Channelized geometries are pretty much like that, okay, channels. So the first flow, as you can understand, they have no space to develop laterally extensive beds, so they have to form thicker beds. Okay? As the channelized geometry is filled with sediments, the upper parts are wider. So they have the opportunity to flow to develop more laterally extensive beds, so thinner beds. Thinner and thinner and thinner, since the channel keeps widening. That's why we have this fining upward trend with thinning. Is that clear and simple? So it is not about a mixing. Okay. That's all.
So where's it from? Where's it from?
I don't know. It's this area. I'm looking. Sorry?
One bed.
It's on there. It's on there. Yes,
Yeah, there's one down here.
the bed. So this is impossible to be completely current. It is simply impossible. Where is the normally graded current? The coarsest material should be here, not here. And should fine constantly until you're mad. So this has nothing to do with turbidity current.
This could be a river system.
River. We are 500 meters below.
That could be a canyon though, couldn't it? You have canyons in Shell.
Yes, you can't have canyons. The canyons are extremely large scale features and they erode like that.
Yeah.
Like that. Not like that. Like that. I cannot see that erosion. Simply the sand would go from here over there and then go back again. This is large scale erosion. There is erosion, definitely. Okay? And what's going on? This is mud. Okay? That's mud. So, mud. There's no mud there. There's no mud there. So what's going on?
It's been eroded.
Yes. So this rock is not one event. Now we know why. This is the next flow that eroded the mud and at this stage, at this place, removed all the mud. And the next sandstone is on top of the previous one. Amalgamated surface. Small scale erosional surface.
So is this just one dump? This whole... Is this just a dump being dumped in one...
That's
Yes.
yes. But there are two. Here again, these are two events. That one and that one. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of finding on the top there, though, isn't there?
On the top, yes. On the top. But there is no constant finding upward trend. There's nothing. Look over there.
Yeah. Can you get like... It's almost a change on that, just in the top of
Is this conglomerate Forley or Wilson?
Yeah, it's poor.
Show me why someone.
You've got all different. You've got all different grain sizes. You've got big stuff here, and then you've got smaller, fine stuff in between.
It's
it.
everywhere. Large class throughout the entire thickness of the bed. Large class are surrounded by very small class. Okay. You could have the largest class here, the smaller class just above, and even smaller class above. This is well sorted. If it was like that. Okay? So you have layers of relatively. Yes. So we have layers with classes of uniform size. This is not like that. Over there, everywhere. There are large classes surrounded by very small ones. So it is poorly sorted. What about the contact? We discussed it. It is erosional. Describe two of them. Describe some of them. Get 2 meters. Alright? So do the same thing we did with the overbanks here. You can start from here if you want and go up to there, it doesn't matter.
So this is part of channel flow.
Yes. We are in the main channel now. Look at the material. No, it is coarse. You do not have pebbles conglomerates in the other one. Not the base, we are somewhere in the channel, in the main channel. I don't know, I haven't seen the base. I have not seen the thick conglomerate.
So the channel's also have mud layers in it. It'll just go.
Finds up there.
But then you come back here and there's almost the conglomerate here. But it's only small